Back again for some more vintage cube on this lovely New Year's Eve. And it looks like we're going to get started fairly soon. But I had a lot of time to play, or used a lot of the time that I've had to play. So this is maybe my fourth draft. I've gone, I think, 1-2, 2-1, 2-1, and 3-0. So not in that order, but that's where we're at. So still haven't actually cracked any really, like, I think the most power I've got was like a Mox once. I haven't gotten the real powerful stuff like Soul Ring, Ancestral, or Library. Okay, so what do we got here? Not a power pack. This could be a different format. Part of the reason I don't like the Vintage Cube is because of that. However, I always want to try to draft blue because it's what I enjoy. So really it's Signet, I think, Brainstorm, Strand Dynamo, or Ashiok are the cards that jump out to me. Out of all those, Ashiok potentially wins games and it's in the right color. So I'm going to just take that, and that will inform my choices going forward. So I could take Grizzlebrand here really early and go for either Reanimator or other ways to cheat it into play. That worked great for me before. I mean, it's just broken and powerful, and that's what you want in Vintage Cube. So I think I'll go that route. It looks like I'm off to a good start here. Well, so there's Pack Rat if I want to reanimate Grizzlebrand, which is definitely reasonable here. But I could also take the Underground Sea and make sure that my colors are good. I like Disallow, okay. Pack Rat could wheel, Underground Sea will not, so I'll take the Sea. I feel a little bad about that, but I picked up an Underground Sea, I can't do that for my blue-black pack. I'd like to be blue-black splash red, something along those lines, because I'd really like Dak Faden to go with, I'd like Dak Faden, and I'd like Doretti, the 3-mana Doretti. Those are two extremely good cards in this format. So, Hero's Downfall, Ancestral, Emrakul, not so much. I can't remember. What's the deal with him? Actually, this one can be reanimated, which is something. But I actually think I'm going to take Spell Pierce here. It's a good card to save you against early nonsense, and it's a good card to push nonsense through. So, what have we got here? Grave Titan, fantastic reanimation target. Some extra mana sources. Spencer's okay. I think Grave Titan's great though. Card's pretty nasty. I have to move them one at a time. That's weird. Pretty nasty card to reanimate. Can certainly win games, so, or otherwise just get into play, right? So nothing for me except Spyglass or Deluge, unless I'm going to go Forge Master, but I've passed a lot of artifacts already, so I'll take the Deluge kind of setup here pretty good. Not super excited by any of this. I really like Tezzeret the Seeker as a card, and it's early enough that I could maybe utilize it. So I'll take the Tezzeret. Hopefully it gets used. Trickmaw's fine, but it's not exciting. I'll assume it's going to make the cut, but I won't expect it to, if that makes any sense. I'll put it in here holding the slot. But if it turns out not to make the cut, I'm not going to be shocked. I could take Relic here, Porcelain, or Inkwell. I'll take the Inkwell. It's early. I've got the Tezzeret. Maybe I get the Tinker. I can also just reanimate this card and not feel bad about that whatsoever. So some fat there. I've got plenty of targets now. I need the rest of what's going to put this deck together. So that's a nice pickup for me. Well, there is Slaver, which is another win con. And then there's Damnation, which is really good if I'm a little bit slow to get going. Slaver's a nasty card. Like, I think Slaver's good enough that I'm going to take it. Now I just want to stay. Okay, so I kind of want red, so I'll take the Electromancer and throw it in the sideboard. If I don't know what I'm going to pick, there's also a chance I could go blue-green. There's no chance that I'm going both red and green, or almost no chance. So if I were to go green as well, like blue-green-black, then I'd go that route. Languish is okay for now, and then we'll see if it stays. Neither of these cards likely to make the cut. Of the two, I suppose in some world, I don't know. Holy Ukrainos, and then this guy? Yeah, because I mean, if I had to switch over to blue-green / black, perhaps, or something, I guess that's an option for me. So, okay, so I've got a little bit of good stuff here. Yogwill's gross. Mana Vault's an amazing card, and phenomenal with Tezzeret. I think Mana Vault's the pick here. It's an amazing card to tinker away if I do get lucky and pull the tinker. It's just a perfect card for me, I think, out of this. So we'll go that route. Wow. Well, there's an Academy, a Time Twister, a Channel, and a Jace. My goodness, this is a gross pack. And then there's Freebooter, also is good. And Prowler if I were reanimating, but I haven't seen any reanimation cards, so I don't know. I'm going to take the Jace on Mind Sculptor, though. Love a turn 1 Mana Vault, turn 2 Jace. Probably wins a game. Academy, Time Twister, Channel is so painful to pass, though. It is just the worst card to have to face. Well, an Umbero Rights is a way to get fatties back, and it gives me a reason to splash white instead of green or red, I suppose. Nothing like pushing my colors every possible direction. There's Time Spiral, there's Sower. Confidant, not so great if you're flipping up cards like this. So I'll take the rights because right now, I don't have another way to cheat these guys out. So let's see if I can do something with that. Frost Titan, not bad. It's not my favorite. I think here it's just a Hymn to Torok and carry on. So Clamp is good. Contempt is okay. Glenelendra is fantastic, and so is Scarab God. This is another way to cheat things into play, though, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to take the Scarab God. So Looter gets my cards in the graveyard, which I still don't really have a good way of doing. I hate passing Leovold, though. That card is insane. I already got rid of the Time Twister, so somebody's getting hooked up real nicely. I think it's going to be Looter anyway, because this deck has a plan, and that's aligned with the plan. All right, so again, along the same lines, I could take Darkslick Shores here, but Sheldock Isle is another way to cheat these cards into play, so I'll take the Sheldock. So early Duress, or Disruption, Duress gives me an early play. I kind of like that. Chalice, I like fine, but it's not, I'm not super thrilled by it. Arena's fine, but a little bit slow in a fast format, and Duress just saves you from that speed, so I'll take the Duress. Wow. So Yogwill here is not as interesting for me as it should be. Bloodfast, super slow, so I'm going to take Daze here because Daze, I like early game, I like not losing to early game stuff. So here I'd really like the Freebooter for the same reason, but I'm going to take the Prowler because the Prowler gives me a second way to do my thing, which is, my thing is trying to cheat fatties into play. Oh, that's 8, this is 9. Jeez, I always do that. I always think Leviathan's 8, and I've had that hurt me a couple of times because I've been 1 mana short to cast it. Right now, still not splashing anything. Mutavault, probably not stellar for me, so I could take Maze of Ith and treat it as a Swords of Plowshares or something, like an emergency card to help me with certain threats. So I'll go ahead and take it, throw it on the sideboard. Hopefully I don't use it. There's really nothing useful for me here. There is that chance I'll splash white for the ability to play, well, the flashback on Unburial Rites. Now, if I take gifts here, it makes Unburial Rites a lot better. So I'm going to take the gifts and try to get that white. Oh, and a nice repeal there's cool. And then try to get that white going, because gifts for like Unburial Rites and Grizzlebrand Inkwell and some other card, or maybe just those three, forces one of them. In fact, one of the things you can do is you can gifts for Unburial Rites and Grizzlebrand. That's it. Yeah, that's okay. And then they've got to throw them both in your graveyard. You flash. That's end of turn. Then you untap flashback and Unburial Rites for Grizzlebrand. Don't worry about the card advantage because you just drew 7, so you're good. Well, my favorite card in the whole format, one of my favorite cards in the whole format, I should say, is Mana Drain. I am going to take it. I'm just looking at what I'm passing. Some good stuff. Looter Scooter would not be as good in here as it should be. The draw and discard effect is great, but I don't have a lot of creatures. So anyway, easy Mana Drain for me, though. I could take another reanimation target, which Shieldred is a very good one. The alternate plan is take Bribery and take my opponent's fat and beat them about the head with it. There's also the plan of taking Grim Monolith, because it can just rush out some of the stuff that I have here. It's a very cheaty card, and I like that. I think Bribery is probably where it's at, just because of, you know, Mana Drain into Bribery is like backbreaking, so often. And there's another way to cheat something out. 2 ways, Exhume and Artisan. So of the 2, I have actually found Artisan to be very, very good. And I'd like to play that. Then there's Jace as another way to get cards in my graveyard. So like this pack kind of does it all for me. Thoughtseize to disrupt and Shackles for stalling. I mean, what's most likely to wheel, I guess I could ask myself here. Is any of that going to wheel? Jace will not. Thoughtseize will not. Exhume or Artisan might. So if I really want to play, like, kind of... I wonder if actually that's what I should be doing. I think actually I'm going to take the Jace, and I'm going to try to wheel one of those cards. Well, there's a Reanimate for me, which goes real nice with the Jace. There's the Dready I would have wanted, but there's a Reanimate for me, so... I hate reanimating Grizzlebrand. It's fairly painful. However, once you connect, pain goes away, and otherwise it's pretty good. It's also fine to reanimate like the Scarab God, and then use the Scarab God to animate something or whatever. Reanimate also goes great with the Jace pickup because you can flip the Jace. You can draw and discard a fatty, flip the Jace, and then reanimate the fatty, and potentially do it again. What is this? Top of your library until you deal damage to yourself. Yeah, that's terrible. So reanimate, strip mine, hostage shaker's fine, grim tutor's fine, Doretti would be great. I'll take the reanimate. Wow, there's the Tinker I was hoping for. I don't have enough artifacts to fuel it. There's also Brutality, which is a great way to get a card. Wow, somebody's going to get Crucible, Strip Mine, Wasteland. So there's also Brutality, which is a great way to disrupt while getting cards in the graveyard. Man, I would like that Tinker. That's rough. But I don't think... I think I'm better off just taking the Brutality and doing what this deck's trying to do. Oh my gosh, a Tinker followed by a Blightsteel. There's nothing much for me in this pack except Bazaar. And the thing about Bazaar... I'm not sure I'm not sure that I want to be doing that with Bizarre. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the Blightsteel because I absolutely do not want to. I don't want to get Tinker Blightsteel, frankly. I'm going to take the dual land here. That's nice. Shredder or Urborg. Urborg turns my islands into dual lands, so I think I'll just take that and not worry too much about the Shredder. Scooter or Dismember. This is a Puppeteer's Click, which isn't the worst thing ever. So I'm probably not actually... I'm looking at not playing Tezzeret right now. I mean, am I going to play any of these cards? I might play Dismember, so I'll take that. Tarpid or Shieldred. I actually want another reanimation target. I think 4 is where I want to be. And Shieldred's a good one. So as much as I want the dual land, the Tarpit, I think because I've got all this enabling stuff here with the Looter and the Wisp Collective and the Prowler and so forth, I think I'm going to take the Shieldred. And then, okay, so I wield the Exhume. Cool. So if it turns out I wanted to run red, I could take the Daretti. It's certainly better than... Yeah, this card is terrible. That card's terrible. I'll take Daretti for sure. That's a great card. There's some universe where I splash to red for that. Although, truthfully, I probably don't. I've got Deluge Languish. It might be too much. I might not actually want to bother with either of these and then just sideboard them in. Yeah, possible Abrupt Decay Splash. Okay, so I got the Bazaar if I want it. I'm just not a fan of the card at all, but I mean, I could see it being very useful here, and perhaps it should be ran. So 25 cards. So I've got a little too many. This is like focusing on what I'm trying to do. Unfortunately, if I want white, I'm going to have to play plains, and I probably will. And I have like no way to go get it whatsoever, which sucks. I didn't prioritize that highly enough, I suppose. This deck has no... So him Exhume is not the greatest thing in the world, but him Jace is pretty snazzy. Slaver doesn't really... Like, there's no theme here with Slaver. I'm not going to be tinkering it out or chasing it out. I kind of like this 24 land build. This looks pretty good to me. Nice and disruptive. Like, it's exactly what you want Reanimator to do, really. Him Exhume is a little bit awkward. It's possible that I should go like extra lands here, but I've got ways to turn dud draws into good cards, and him is just a pretty good card. So I think I'm just going to go with that. I've got very little defensively going. Just a lot of consistency. I'm okay with that. I think I'm going to go with like 1 plains just to be able to do it, I think. Well, let's start with this. 8 and 8, right? Okay, interesting. All right, so 1, and that's going to replace an island. That's going to replace a swamp. These 2 are going to replace an island and a swamp. So we drop 2 islands and 2 swamps. And run 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the question is whether or not I want a plains. I mean, I can't flashback Unburial Rise at all. That's pretty silly. I might actually run 2 plains. Or maybe just 1. I wonder if I can... So the dual lands, I took out an island and a swamp and put in an underground and a water grave, which left me with the same number of islands and swamps, +1 each. Right, so because if you look at it, like if I have 7 and 7, right, and I replace an underground and a watery grave for 2 of the lands, I drop down to 6 and 6, and then I go up to 8 and 8. Not count-wise, but in terms, not in count overall, not in overall land counts, but in terms of color. And I think because of that, I can actually do this, and I end up with the same number of, this is the same number of, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So look how much blue I have. 1, 2, right, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then if you look at swamps, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the exact same number, but I actually have 2 planes that I can use to possibly flashback on burial rites. So is it great? No, it's super not great. But it might be correct. And I think I'm done here. I need 2 though, because if I just have 1, like I'll sit there with Gifts Ungiven, having never drawn a planes ever, and just be frustrated by the lack of ability to play the gifts and do anything meaningful with it. So this is cool, and then this gives me, I have great sideboard. I've got a lot of anti-creature sideboard, so if my opponent's trying to rush me, I've got some, of course some of it costs me life, which isn't the best if they're playing, say, mono red. But yeah, there's some solutions there. So all right, let's do it though. I mean, this is about as, well, not quite, but this is getting on the high side, high consistency, high like quality side of the Reanimator build, right? Like this is much closer to what a Reanimator deck should look like. It's possible that I could take out, I suppose, Mana Vault. No, that's just insane. You don't take out Mana Vault. I was going to say Mana Vault for like creature removal or something to buy time, but I'd rather bypass the number of turns with a Vault and just rush to a big play and just overpower them. Besides, if my opponent gets... That's interesting. First turn Shelldock, second turn him, and then possibly Mana Drain into something. I'm going to keep it. It's not great, but it's not horrible either. And it's much better against blue, certainly. Okay, so I could... so I'll stick Fat Stack under there, and then we'll put Ashiok on top of a click. In case we somehow get to the bottom of our libraries, gives me the option. Turn 2 him, turn 3 Mana Drain. I like that. Actually, with what's going on over there, it's possible I want to Mana Drain here. My opponent's rushed a lot of mana. If they make a 4-drop, right? 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll be too short, so now I want to him here. Wow, Mindslaver Mountain. Okay, well, maybe I took their land drop. I don't know. Ouch. Got my Mana Drain. All right, well, I wouldn't have wanted to Mana Drain that, frankly. Much. It's not a very exciting play. It does make this game quite a bit more difficult, though. So I'm going to play this because I don't need to tell them that they know exactly what's in my hand. Wow. Opponent is not disturbed by the Hymn to Torok at all. Oh my goodness. Well, the Burial Rites and a Leviathan is an interesting thing to have happened. Okay. They threw away the Burial Rites, and I've got a Plains here, so did they just commit suicide there? Maybe. I don't know. I could duress my opponent here first. I think I'm just going to go for it. Because it was an unplanned hymn for starters, so they don't know. It's not like they were setting up. This isn't like they were like holding back cards like it's random. So if they had a counter spell, it would be sheer luck that they could play a counter out of that situation right there. So that's definitely problematic for my opponents, I would think. Oh boy, maybe not as problematic as this. So perhaps I should have duressed. What is this going to Annihilator 4? Well, sucks to lose my Grave Titan, but this just basically sucks, but all right. Opponent is doing way more broken stuff than what I'm doing, for sure. Oh, interesting. That's pretty clever. I've never seen anyone do that. That's very clever, actually. Okay, so maybe I'm just dead here. I don't think I've got time to win this game. I think I'm doomed. Rough. I guess I should have duressed. That's interesting. We've got 11. They can kill the Ulamog, or they can kill my land, right? And then after that, I think I lose. If I could have gotten Grave Titan out, I guess I would have been okay. That's rough. Yep. Just because of the haste factor on that Ulamog was just a bit much. And then Annihilator 4. Okay, well, bummer. But that's vintage for you. Lots and lots of artifacts for me to target over there. I don't know. I could bring in Predator. I could bring in Duretti. It's not easy for me to splash, obviously. Nezavith would have been pretty... Nezabith would have been an insane top deck right there, because no, it wouldn't have, because Annihilator 4 would have beat me, so no, it wouldn't have done anything. There's Duretti Confluence. How much red do I want to bring in, though? And then there's Decay and Predator. Like, do I want to try to do that, or do I want to stick with what I'm doing and hope to do it better? I think I'm fine. I think that's just vintage luck there. All right, so good start. Lots of disruption. I have brutality with Leviathan, so there's something good happening there. Lots of speed. I'm not going to be hard casting the Leviathan, so question is whether or not I wait. So my opponent may have a Jace here. If I wait one more turn, it's so first of all, I might be able to kill their Jace and then take a card if they have one. And it's also one more card in their hand, so like it's one more chance to connect with something useful. Okay, so that kind of changes things. I'll go ahead and play the planes and pass. So what I'm going to do is obviously try to drain into an Inkwell. And then if nothing happens, I'll click them. All right, so that's probably my drain target. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so we'll do it. So 3, I don't want to get dazed. 6, 7, 8. I've only had one more mana for that brutality. Maybe I should have gone early with it. But I would have ended up discarding Leviathan most likely. I don't want to do that, so. All right, they're digging. I mean, if I don't get blown out here, then I'm in great shape with Click and Brutality. Click speeds my clock up a little bit, I think. No, it doesn't really. Click and Brutality together is 5 extra damage. 7, 7, and 5 is one damage short, so it wouldn't quite get me there. I really just don't want my opponent to reload off a wheel effect. Okay. Okay, so if I can draw a land and Brutality my opponent, then I think I'm in really good shape. Because I could Brutality them and then click their draw step. Land? Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to lead with Brutality. Yeah, I'm going to lead with Brutality. So this does not get me there any faster, so I'm only going to go after their hand. Okay, Trinket Venser. So I may actually, so don't want to click their draw step. They can just Venser it. I actually think I'm going to go this route and try to nail whatever. Oh, that would have been great for them to be drawing those 3 cards. But at least this way, if they do wheel, it puts a ton of pressure on them because it goes after, like, maybe they replay a land. They don't have an extra land to replay. So if they drew the wheel, the Ashiok, like 16, and then Ashiok takes 3, yeah, we quickly get into crushing their hand, so I like that. That Wheel of Fortune concerns me that's in their deck. Don't dismember. Don't want to zoom. I haven't really seen a lot of fat on their side, so I really think I'm fine. This deck is as good as it gets for me. I think I'm going to keep. An Early Duress seems good against them. Mana Vault is great. And if I can draw a land, then this hand is off to the races because I get to go. If I can draw a blue, because then I get to Jace away their... Okay, so I think I wait a turn. This turn 2 Ashiok should be... Well, I think I'm going to dress him. Because if they're sitting on a 2-drop artifact to get them somewhere... All right, wow, Grudge. Lotus... This big, what is this? Copy effect. So the key here is I'm just going to need to use my vault. I don't have a lot of artifacts to worry about that. Lotus is amazing for them because they have Soul Ring. So it's a matter of they can get to the Soul Ring. And then, of course, the payout would be Explosion Expansion. Hard to play for them, though. Honestly, really might just take the Lotus here. I think I will. I'm afraid of their ability to get it out into play quickly off that Trinket Mage. Nice. Okay, so they don't have any removal that I know of because Explosion's way too slow. So now I can possibly duress them again. So get Jace down. I have to build up for it, but I'm getting there. So one more land would actually get me... Very nice. Okay. So I think I dumped Shieldred. Because then I can gifts in a turn after that. Let me make sure, yeah, there's nothing over there that I'm... or do I want to Ashiok them right away? So there are a couple different things I can do here. One of them is I play Vault. My opponent grudges it end of turn, and I repeal it back to my hand. And that's cute, but I'm not sure that it does a heck of a lot for me. Another one is just get Ashiok and start hammering my opponent quickly. Another one is Sheldock Isle. So if I play the Sheldock Isle, then on the next turn, I can... Yeah, I think actually I'm going to go after my opponent right now. Like they have nothing going, and I just want to hammer them with the Ashiok. Oh, nice! And I got Brain Maggot and what? And some mana, which they actually need. So they need blue. So we've seen the swamp come down. I've seen nothing else out of their hand. Yeah, they're bricking hard. Okay, Expansion Explosion is not... There we go. That's what I know of in their hand. Oh, wow. Beautiful Bribery. So I can hit him with the Brain Maggot, right? And I think I will. All right, so now I know exactly what's going on in their hand. So let's do that. And then, okay, and then choose. So right now, I think the card I'm afraid of is Expansion Explosion. So we'll take that out. And I'm going to bribe them immediately. So I'll Sheldock. For Grizzlebrand, yeah. And put the Plains on top, because that's the card I'll need the most certainly. I want to Jace. But I'm pretty sure bribing them here is still the best choice. Why do I see so many cards? They only have 4. Okay, so they don't really have anything going on, so I'm definitely going to bribe them. The question is whether or not I want to use a Jace here. I guess I will. I'm trying to... Yeah, okay, cool. I got to deck them that out. Vault. Bribery them. Now I'm going to Ashiok into Sheldock here, but this actually derive a scoop from them anyway. I mean, it's your second game. It's not like you're telling me information. You might as well let me look and then concede. Curiosity and all that. I'm going to get a chat log. Show chat. Oh, he's complaining about streaming. All right, cool. I'll take it. All right, so do I want to make any edits? I don't think so. I think it's just fine. Let's go. I wasn't sure if I would have time to finish these games before. I have something going on for New Year's, but this is vintage. All right, I'm keeping. Really, Shieldred is nice. If I can get some on my discard or something, or my opponent forces a card out of my hand. If they, for example, were to Thoughtseize right here, then that's not too bad either. All right. All right, for now, I'll just pretend that I'm on control. So I want to slam the Shieldred, but I want to do it when it's going to provide me with value. So I'm going to actually play the Plains here, because if my opponent like Wheel of Fortunes or something, then I have 0 ways to get more white mana. It also makes it really look like I'm on a control build. And actually this game could play out in a control-like fashion, depending on what happens. I'm really concerned about Shieldred. If I play it and my opponent kills it or removes it, then this hand goes nowhere. So I think I actually want to wait for the Inkwell. If I can't find a way to like draw and discard, but if I can, then maybe I try to get the Inkwell into the graveyard first and then throw down a Shieldred. It gets more enticing to do that if my opponent has a creature that I need to kill with the effect. Of course, maybe my opponent does like show and tell here, and then really good things happen for me. No, okay, maybe not. So they are probably Kiki Jiki combo, I'm guessing. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I could throw Shieldred down and my opponent copies it, and then I have to kill my Shieldred and lose. So I don't think I'm going to go that route. I could throw down Grave Titan, my opponent copies it, then I untap Mana Vault, I get the first attack, which my opponent probably trades off, right? And then after that I've got some kind of an advantage, perhaps. Questionable route to take. It does kind of force my opponent's hand a little bit. Or I've got 8 mana next turn, which is short of Leviathan, and also they've got a copy in their hand. I think I'm going to go this route, though. And I'm going to slam it this way, leaving it up like I've got possibly a Swords of Plowshares or something. So now, if my opponent copies the Grave Titan and has like a plow from mine, then this is a really, really bad line. And possibly loses. Okay, so they probably just do that and then copy the Titan, I'm guessing. So get the copy out of their hand, which is cool. Yep. It's all fine. All right, recharge for next round. Let's see, this works out okay because I get the first swing. And I probably should have left maybe one zombie back, because then my opponent's super not encouraged to swing back, right? So this was a mistake. I should have attacked with. I mean, this was basically hoping that my opponent would do exactly what they're doing here, because I want that off the board, right? And I want my opponent to have as few creatures as possible, so that Shieldred will do some work. Now I may go for Leviathan, actually. That's a little bit hard to say. So this card's gone. I will have 9 mana next turn. I could go Leviathan, and then it's my 6th drop, so I go to Leviathan, and then my 7th drop I go to Shieldred. And I guess that's the way to play this Mana Flood. Yuck. Everybody got the Lotus. Wheel? Wheel. I would love a wheel. I do not mind a wheel here at all. Okay. So that changes my Mana Vault. I don't know. Are they going to kill one of their artifacts to kill my vault? Because if they don't, they're definitely slamming Leviathan here. They just plus up and make a token. It's slam Leviathan, slam Shieldred is the 1-2. Because then the Leviathan can walk, kill the Doretti, which is very important. I think. I mean, I'd like to go face, but if I take the Doretti out, then the Shieldred is all set to go. I also have to remember that the Shieldred's trigger is not like the Abyss. You don't name a target. So, okay, so they're going to kill my vault. All right. That sets me back a little bit of a turn, but at least Doretti's dead. Whoa, did they misclick? Oh, wow, I get to kill Doretti with a zombie because they misclicked and I still get to run out the Leviathan. That's awesome. Or bribed him, which I'm not sure how much is better than so I'm gonna get an extra planes out. Yeah, I think so. I'm really tempted to bribery my opponent because it might be. I don't know what they could have, like, but if they're playing big mana like this, right, they probably have some serious stuff going on. But I think Leviathan's still the play. It's the most mana efficient play for me. It's a huge clock, extremely frustrating to have to deal with that card. And bribery I can follow up if they have like some kind of mana pinch. Oh boy. Ancestral's a pretty good card, I've heard. Also, if they... Yeah, there you go. If they were to Phantasmal Image, say, the Leviathan, they're in a spot where they can't really afford to chump block unless they have an answer for Shieldred as well. Because if they did, then Shieldred would take out the Leviathan. Okay, so they're bribing me, but I've drawn most of my fat. What's left? Oh, Grizzlebrand's still in here. Yuck. I don't know how much life they want to spend, but imagine they're going to spend some. So if they go to 10, Inkwell takes them to 3. Okay, not super relevant. Could be, though. Okay, so because of... So I think actually because I drew that, I think I'm going to bribe them. The question is whether or not I want to collective for life. I don't want to go hand and kill a creature. Hand kill creature life. Like what is the... I don't even have enough cards for that. So I think I'm going to bribe them though. And find out what I'm dealing with over here. Wow. Queller Grizzlebrand. That's amazing. It's to be like that, is it? Okay. That's interesting. So now I can actually brutality and do it all. Cannot exhume a phantasmal image. Okay, so escalate with 3 modes, I think. So opponent, creature, opponent, discard 2 cards, and I'll throw away what is going to be a little bit too. Saluter is not super great here. Chase is a little bit slow. Shelldog's a little bit slow. Exhume is pretty bad, so I think I'm going to throw Exhume, actually. I don't think I want to be doing that. Banishing Light, Chase, and an Arena. So they've got Banishing Light. Okay. All right, so that doesn't address Inkwell, and I would say I like my board state better than I like theirs, certainly. However, the fact that they've got a turn here is the part that's concerning. So do I want to pay life with Grizzlebrand at this point, or try to win with what's in my hand? I think I just want to try to win with what's in my hand. I've got a 1 blue short, actually, from Mana Drain and Shelldog, which is a little frustrating. Okay. So opponent could go and pick up 7 more cards. Missing that 1 blue might be a big deal here. If I don't draw it, because I want to be able to Banishing Light and back it up with the Mana Drain. The other plan for me might be, well, I guess 1 more land would also let me repeal the Grizzle. No, it would not. I'm short. Also, I have to figure out, do I want to untap the Mana Vault? Because I suppose I can V-click and block. Yeah, it's a little frustrating. And like I said before, if I try to Shield Red, the Lava Cloud Reaches can actually save. I don't know if I said it, but what I was thinking before, that's a terrible play for them, so cool. I think I'm just going to let it go. Blue. Oh, okay, well, all right. I think I want to swing in with everything. I do have to watch out for Lava Claw a little bit. Now we're going pressure. Gotta pressure Grizz. So this is what it's going to come down to. So if I click my opponent's hand, well, let's do this. Sure. There's the island I needed. So I'm thinking I Banishing Light. I bounce the Banishing Light, right, to get my Grizzlebrand mid-combat. With possibly a Spell Pierce up. The chances of Pierce successfully doing anything, though, are so poor. So they didn't actually play the Signet. So they're holding Signet Architect. Basically what I'm debating internally is whether or not I play the Jays. And I don't think I do, because if I don't resolve repeal, I lose. So anything to help me resolve repeal, the Jace is meaningless. And if I do resolve repeal, I probably win because of the Leviathan. So my opponent does something like animate Lava Claw and smash. Yeah, sure. So I don't know what's happening here, but so like they might animate and then push in for extra damage, which I would love, thinking that I have a trick. So there's a signet we knew about. That's fine. All right, so I got to do this during combat to have a chance to block. So there's almost no chance here. I mean, if my opponent has a counter. What? Oh. Oh, that was me not paying attention. Okay, lovely. Wow. I should have V-clicked. Wow. Threw a game away. Okay, that was complete idiocy on my part. That is terrible. Wow. That was stupid. Do I want the deluge? I probably don't want... Yet again, I probably don't want Exhume. Bribery, man. Hey, that card is gross. Wow, that was... No, I don't think so. I think I just play it as is. That was so dumb. All I had to do is V-click my opponent there and block. And then we have a game. That was really bad. I felt terrible about that. Wow. I feel terrible about that. Yet again, Maze of Ith potentially being good here. Would have been the winning card in the Grizzlebrand on Grizzlebrand match. I think I played that mostly correct, but jeez. That was just unforgivably bad on my part. Una's Prowler is like the worst card in my deck. I could replace it with Maze of Ith, but as soon as I do that, I'm going to feel that it was a mistake, I'm sure. All right, so I keep this and hopefully I'm going to go ahead and lead with the Shelldock, even though I'd like to have Daze up. And then maybe there's a way that I can, if I can get early Ashiok with Daze backing it up. Ashiok Shelldock does. Ashy Dock over there. It does great things. So let's see. That's about the worst possible bit of nonsense. There's a chance that I'll want to counterspell something. So we'll do that. But that's pretty terrible. All right, still need black. A target for a repeal would be all right with me. One of the few times where I would have been okay with Soul Ring, because they go Soul Ring, I bounce it immediately. Well, I wait, and then they go into... If they go Soul Ring, no play, right? They go into combat, I bounce it, and after combat they play it and I daze it. So that would have been okay. Black mana? No. Okay, we're a long way off from Shelldock doing much. They've got cards like Nahiri and stuff in their deck, so it's concerning. Yeah, I might actually daze this card. I feel stupid about dazing this card, though. Creature power 2 or less. So what do they get? What would they... What creature would be... I don't know. I'm going to daze it anyway. I'm not sure what Demonic Tutoring would do for them, but it could allow them to get... Dark Confidant or something. I guess I didn't see one, so that's probably overly fearful. I'm worried that now they just go end Nahiri though. Okay, cool. So let's go to combat. There we go. Beautiful. That was what I was hoping for. Something like that. So I could just gifts into a probable win here. Immediately Grizzlebrand my opponent. I can also Ashiok and start eating the hand and then follow it up with gifts. I think I'd rather Ashiok first and then go for it. Thief of Hope. Ah, that's the card they would have gotten for. Oh, they got balance, jeez. Alright, so now Sheldok's counter spell will come on board soon, I guess. Yeah, it seems like my opponent was a little bit mana screwed since they missed a land drop, so this felt like a safe. Oh, beautiful. So I could actually put... No, it's too early for that. Let's just chew through my opponent's library. All right, so I want to get the Spell Pierce up on board quickly, which it will be next turn, and then I can worry about other cute things. So I'm all set to win this game here. I've got gifts for the reanimation of the fatty, and I think that gets... Trying to figure out if I can make my library thin enough to pierce that, but I don't think that I can. Yeah, I think that's going to have to get countered. So I really want Urborg, so I'm going to actually include that in my gifts pile. And then it's going to be something like... At least I think I am. So I want to make this as painful as possible for my opponent, obviously. So Urborg gets me a Grizzlebrand right now. So I want Urborg... where's my reanimate card? Unburial Rites. And then 2 cards that my opponent will not want to give me. So it could go Scarab God. Bribery, maybe? Yeah, I think I like, well, Scarab God's a little slow. I think Bribery and Chase is what I'm going to do. Okay, opponent's going to have to make 2 piles of that. They probably give me Unburial Rites. I should have went ahead and put the fatty, I should have put the big guy in the pile actually, not Jace, but this is fine. Because then I could just I could threaten to hardcast it here. Alright, so I've got lots of black mana. Alright, so let's just make sure 4, 8, right? So I can him my opponent first. And I get Coalition Relic and Necromancy, so that's cool. And then black. For the big boy. Go ahead and hit their library again. And I'm going to go ahead and draw now because I want to discard. And I also want to hit a... Okay, I didn't. I want to hit a duress. So I'm going to throw away, I need at least one fatty and then something else. So if I throw away, I want to be careful here. So I'm going to throw away watery grave or swamp. I want to be careful here. So if I throw away something, they can copy the Grizzlebrand is a problem. The other problem is that they can, but if they have a reanimation effect and I throw away something for like Shieldred, then they just, the effect goes on the stack and I click, so I'm good. All right, so we'll throw this away and we'll throw away I don't think I'm going to be paying life to play this card here, so that can go away. All right, yeah, so if they reanimate my own Shieldred, I get to click with the effect on the stack. And if they do that, which was the other threat, of course, you know, when I him my opponent. How silly. All right, well, it is what it is. Okay. So the thing is, I can unbarrel rights the Shieldred, and then that'll take care of the Grizzlebrand. Is one way for me to deal with it. Or just exhume it. And then I've got Sheldok's counterspell ready. I think Duress, actually, I moved it to the bottom of the stack, so I wasn't going to hit it off a Shieldred or Grizzlebrand now that I think about it. So I do wish I had my Jace. That Jace should have been the big guy. All right. This is a dumb match, that's for sure. But it's down to 12 cards in library, so really, like, if I can just stall, then I've got it. So I'm going to pre-combat exhume for sure because I don't want to trade and then end up in the same situation that I'm in. I suppose I could post-combat do it and then exhume back my Grizzlebrand, but then they clone it. If I exhume back Shieldred, they clone it, and then their guy dies during their upkeep. But that's the same net result as exhuming pre-combat, except I don't get a free creature, so I'll do it pre-combat. All right, opponent, what are you going to do? Another nice thing, I guess, for me here is that I've got Jace, and I can Jace back bribery or repeal at some point. I'd really like it if my opponent would advance the game, though. That would be fantastic. I'm sure they're deciding, do they want to pay the life, or do they just have some play? Good lord, dude, just make a play, please. I get it. The only reason I'm feeling stressed by them taking their time is because I'm on a bit of a time crunch myself. Okay, well, so what do I have left? I still have Leviathan left, which is a big problem if they hit it here. I could also take 7 cards and hope to pull Leviathan, and then I'm probably safe at that point. Can I deal with... If I exhume Shieldred, I'm only going to kill one or the other, but not both. However, I can attack and possibly trade with my opponent and then exhume Shieldred and kill Leviathan, so I think this is fine. Just let it go. I'm not sure that my opponent wants to take 7, but maybe they do. Maybe they do. I don't know. Hearing a little bit of a buzz in my headset. Hopefully you're not hearing that. Hold on, I'm gonna drink some coffee. I like my coffee so that it's difficult to decide if it's actually coffee or hot chocolate. So the other thing that's funny here is if we traded Grizzle Brands, they know I've got the Unburial right, so they may not. Yeah, I may not get the result I want here, but I still think they've got to take the Leviathan. There's nothing else for them. Okay. So I kind of want to V-click my opponent, but so if I can't do it with Exhume if I kind of want to get into my opponent's hand. This is a little bit of a dicey situation, honestly. Just a little dicey. All right, so I am going to gain 7 life, which means that the swing back isn't lethal. I'm worried about. I'm considering whether or not I want to pay 7 life. I also don't want my opponent to get 7 life. I think I've got a pre-combat Exhume though, because they get nothing, and then that allows me to use Unburial rights. So I'm going to have to do that. Unfortunately, this totally telegraphs what happens if they block. Pretty nasty for me. All right. Well, I didn't see the recruiter. I guess they do get something. That's kind of matters. But anyway, they have nothing to recruit. Great. So what's next? I can put a Thief of Hope into play to chump block a Grizz. I can pay 7 and get my 7 back and end up at 13. I may want to see what's going on in my opponent's hand before I make a decision here. The thing I didn't do before we started was screenshot my deck list, so I don't actually know if I want to draw 7 or not, because I'm unsure as to what I could actually hit, which is a big problem. So all right, I'll take information, I guess. No, I'm going to send in with Grizz. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. They've got a... Sure. Okay, cool. All right. So I don't need the 7 extra cards to win if my hand is as good as it is. So, but I also can just put Grizzlebrand right back into play. Alternately, I can get into their hand, which I like a lot. I'm going to do that now because I'm concerned about what's going on over there. Okay. So Ancestral, 7 mana. So I really want Banishing Light to go away and then try to run them out of cards fast. All right, so what do they have? No Banishing Light. I have one unknown, some ramp. Possibly I could Jace something over here. Do I need to sit on Pierce, basically, is where I'm at. Too bad that isn't the dress. Oh well, in hindsight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So depending on what they do, I may be better off just piercing and not worrying too much about Jace. I think that's where we're at. So a lot of to do for a very little payout there. All right. So get rid of that. They can smash in for 7 on Ashiok, but it's not enough. They can go face, but so if they were to do something like, well, let's just see. So because they can play Grizzlebrand if they hit a land drop, right? They can go land Grizzlebrand, but Grizz with 8 cards in library is just not the same as Grizzlebrand with, 14. All right, so hopefully no time walk happens here. This gets a lot worse if something like that occurs. And if their only play is Grizzlebrand, well, then I've got a Grizzlebrand of my own coming back out, so that's pretty much a non-issue. All right, so yeah. All right, cool. Ancestral, yeah, it's target player also, so I also have to watch for them targeting me, potentially killing me, if I were too aggressive with the card drawing.
1 hour.
Thank you. We've got an hour left. I think we can wrap this up in an hour. Should be right. I don't know. I'm pretty slow. I've still got one more game to play too, so that's the other thing I guess I should be considering is that the clock is definitely an enemy here. I have the better Jace. My opponent has the Ancestral. What else do they have? They have Necromancy. So they do have ways to reanimate stuff in my graveyard. I've got to watch that. Necromancy, Bribery, Phantasmal Image is just a nasty combination because wherever the card is, if it's in play, graveyard, or library, they can get to it. So good. Pierce is just I don't know, tap 2 lands over there, but I don't see a hell of a lot of value in that. It's a mistake not to pierce it if it turns out that they've got like a 5-drop creature, but I didn't see one in their deck, so okay. I could have pierced that also just to tap that Lotus. They probably would have simply let it go. And then in this position though, the pierce actually might be useful, so okay. Let's just go library again. Spell Queller is good. Do the attacking. My opponent sped the clock up by a bit when they threw down the Ancestral, or they made the Ancestral play. So again, I could take more cards, cost me life, gets me within Well, the Ancestral's gone, so I guess... In fact, the only thing in my opponent's hand is a Grizzlebrand and an Unknown. I want more cards. I'm really not sure that I do. The duress is second from the bottom, so I really don't see a big reason to take more cards. I will play this. I'm not going to run out the Grave Titan because it doesn't do anything on this board. It's just win more. I hope I get a pierce something here. Okay, and then there it is, the pierce, doing the work that it needed to do. And that should be game over. Wow. Force of Will and a blue card is the last two cards in my opponent's hand. That's amazing. Okay, that's bad news. I am so glad I didn't get greedy with Grizzlebrand here. I am so glad that I didn't get greedy. Because then this game could have been in range for my opponent. But right now it feels like it's not. Even if they hit me, Time Walk hit me, I don't die. So I mean, they kill Ashok, but they have one card in library. And lethal on the board. So there's a lot that needs to happen for my opponent to recover from this. And of course they're going to play Grizzlebrand. Yep. I guess that would have been a reason to play Grave Titan. So is there anything to bribe in my opponent's library? Okay, I can shrink Grizzlebrand down. Send the team. If my opponent takes, well, they've got a block here. Go to main. Oh goodness, it's getting painful. And then from their library, I'll put, where's the Phantasmal Image into play? Okay, and then we'll just make a copy of I guess this guy, and call it good. Sure. Sure. We have no cards in library and lethal on the board. I may time out here. Sheesh. All right. So mistakes were made, certainly. Playing too slow. All right, well, I'm going to have to just get a good draw. All right, the game plan is get a good draw, win the game. This is a great deck. I just may have pushed my clock a little too hard. There's a mall. Sure. Let's keep. It goes bottom. So this into Jace into Reanimate is the game plan. All right, so there's time to win. Well, that changes things. Opponent is obviously just going to try and stall here. Inkwell, great. Oh, play Jace off the island and hide the fact that I drew a swamp. Yep. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Yep. Could have thought it through, I suppose. What could they have gotten with the Imperial Seal, right? Is a question I could have asked myself, but that would be too smart. 30 each. I'm under a lot of pressure. I do need to go ahead and get my swamp down now. Sure. Let's get 27 in library, so getting to watch that carefully. Two more mana. I guess I don't want to run into a mana drain here. Potentially Shieldred kill them. Okay. That'll work. So I get to pressure them with the peel here and then untap and then untap. If it resolves, I get to Jace reanimate. So however, then they have the creatures, so they can counter the reanimate. But what they can't do is counter the Shieldred per se. Oh, it goes to my hand. Never mind. I was thinking it goes to play. All right. Yeah, so I'll cast it. And then they'll just counter it, right? No. Interesting. Okay. Lovely. So I guess, do I go Shieldred here? Sure. Hopefully I don't have time to screw around too much. And then this hides the Grizzlebrand next turn. I mean, they know that I have Grizzlebrand, but they don't know that I have double Swamp Grizzlebrand. So, and I won't pay life because it'll turn on Shelldock. If they bribe me now, I've got a problem. A small one, because they will be able to get Grave Titan. Okay. Okay. Keep this 2, 3, 4. When it loses 2 cards in hand, I lose a Shieldred who I can reanimate. Or just play the Scarab God and then go for it. Is he going to ask me to choose a creature to sack, or is it just going to kill them all? Hopefully it just kills them all. Whatever's faster. So they've got the counterspell guy. But they don't have the mana. Oh, that was lovely. Okay, so let's get a duress off. "24 cards in each library." Spyglass. Okay, so we'll take Force of Will. So they've got Spyglass. Always going to yield to this and then yield. So they've got Spyglass, Queller, Grizz. As of right now, it looks pretty good. And then whatever they fetch up here. Okay. Which is going to be, what, copy effect? Okay. That sucks. That is an unbelievable draw on their part. Okay, so then I'm going to shoot the Shieldred out. They're going to Spyglass the Scarab God, of course. Man, it looks like I'm going to lose this game, except I can do a mid-combat Inkwell Leviathan once they draw for the turn. Oh, I have a bunch of swamps. I can't block. Oh, gosh. Well, what an amazing way to lose. Wow. That rip off my opponent's top deck there was insane. All right, well, I'm going to gifts anyway, and then... Is there anything that I can fetch here? Yeah, they're just going to Queller that. That's fine. Yeah, of course, right. Duh. I'm just losing now, so whatever. Yep. Unreal. That was an unreal top deck. Little heartbroken about that, but it happens. It happens. I mean, I suppose knowing they had that card, I could sideboard and dismember and hope that somehow I got there with that, but I don't. I mean, I could have also drawn Collective Brutality and won that way, so... that was just heartbreaking. All right, well, shake it off, I guess, and carry on, try to break even on my draft. Coast was totally clear. I'm trying to think, like, did I misplay? I am not sure. This is a hand with sort of a lot of risk to it, obviously. It just got a lot better in possible upside. That's a pretty aggressive early Mystical Tutor. So any land makes this hand really, really good. Now, with that looter. Man, that was just a brutal loss. So painful. I again made the mistake of not screenshotting my deck. It definitely affects my play for the worse. Normally you have like a deck list or something. You don't have to memorize. All right, well. So if they go land Mox here, that's pretty good for me. All right, yeah, thing in the ice. Mox would have been great because if they went land Mox Twister, I would get to repeal the Mox and daze the twist. But Okay. Oh darn, I have too many cards in hand, so. Titan not great, because Thing in the Ice Titan's not the greatest thing ever, but the greatest thing in the ice ever, but I guess my opponent could be playing the same deck I'm playing, but Thing in the Ice and Reanimator is a little bit sketchy because you're and Time Twister too. Like both of these cards don't signal Reanimator to me, because for one thing, flipping Thing in the Ice and returning the creatures you cheated into play is not great, and for another, killing your graveyard is not great. I'm thinking some kind of storm is what I'm actually facing here. So again, hopefully they just go no land, Mox, Time Twister. Okay. They didn't. So I can Brutality that card out of their hand. And I think I will. So yeah, it's a... it is Storm. All right, well, that leaves him in a tough spot there. So I could have easily lost there if they would have gone Ritual into Twister. I would have had to Daze the Ritual and then hope it got me there, and I don't think it would have. No, it wouldn't have. But I see their problem. They wanted to hit 4 so they could Ritual and Ritual. So they could double Ritual Twist, right? All right, so... repeal is my game plan for the thing at this point. See if they would just, yeah, always yield, that's fine. So 3, oh, Grim. Bad news there. So if I'm lucky, they go Desperate Ritual, Wheel of Fortune. Alternately, if they sit on the card and I can get a land and V-click them, that'll work too. So I'm wondering if that means they don't have a that they don't have a Wheel of Fortune. So I think I'd rather just mana drain. It's a more of a 2-for-1, right? Like they Ritual and then make their big play. I think, and then V-click them if they don't go for it. Okay. And once a thing flips, then I'm not bad off because once the Thing in the Ice flips, it hits me for 7, but my opponent's used a ton of resources to flip it, and really not too bad. So they've got Unknown, Ritual possibly, and then what? Maybe. So one other card that's unknown. So I could repeal the Thing in the Ice and then V-click them. But I'd rather click here and see what's going on over there, and then start with a little bit of pressure, let Thing flip. Let the Thing in the Ice flip so that I can V-click them again. So yeah, I'll get rid of that. That's fine. So the card they tutored for is in hand now. And Ashok was pretty good there. Obviously, if they do any more of that Imperial Seal type plays, Mystical Tutor main phase and stuff like that, then I can go for it. Playing a very controlling game right now, but I don't want to, again, I don't want to reanimate the Titan because I'm expecting Thing in the Ice to flip here at some point, and if I reanimate the Titan prior to that, it's just a wasted opportunity. So 2 unknowns, one of which they Grim Tutored for. I assume they didn't Grim Tutor for Rakdos Signet. Let me Vendilion click you again. Well, that definitely needs to be countered. If I don't... So repeal, very, very easy to play now. Would not mind some more mana. Cool. Question. I think the play is going to be Ashiok. Go after their library, reanimate Grave Titan. So I'm a little worried about reanimating Grave Titan. I'm worried about my life total. I'm worried about my life total because if they're playing Tendrils or a Goblin thingy, then the Goblin thingy is less of a problem, I guess, because reanimated Titan. But if they're playing Tendrils, then I could get myself into lethal here. It would take 4 Storm cards to kill me. So I get a lethal real quickly that way. The other, I guess, playing Swamp, they've already got triple black for Necros, so I don't need to worry about that. But on the other hand, the Titan puts them under a huge clock, and then I can click clock them. Yeah, I guess I'm going to do it, but I'm not happy about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm just not. I know that one of their cards in their hand is the Flipper, the card I just bounced. So it's really, you know, and if they can flip it here also, I suppose that's pretty dangerous for me as well. So I guess really it comes down to like if they can reload here. So for example, if they go, say, the horror and they run out like a memory jar. So don't know what they've revealed. This is what I've exiled. So if they go horror memory jar, though I do have days. I say jar because it's the most well, Time Spiral is like the best card for them here, I would guess. Like it's the one I'd be most likely to instantly just lose to. But memory jar would have been really good for them as well with the horror. If well, this isn't going to kill them, so they would have time to do that. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of guesswork here. The thing I want to do is pressure as quickly as I can because Daze gets worse every turn. So they just tap 2, and one of them's blue, then that's the thing in the ice, okay? And then what's the other card? Don't know yet. So I'm going to go ahead and go after the library. Before attacking, maybe I'll find out more information that could prove useful here. Ah, nice, there's empty. So they do have empty, and they have days, so something to be playing around. All right, I am going to just curve out. I don't have a lot else to do, so. All right, let's see what's going on over there. Scoop. Maybe. I mean, they've already burned Brainstorm, so. I guess a worse play for me would be like a card drawing counterspell, maybe, from my opponent. Remand, for example, would be really bad if they had it on this play. Because that would mean that they could take a counter off thing in the ice and then also push for a little bit more. Okay, that's what's going on. They're trying to find out if they just concede here or not. Okay. So they do have tendrils. That's what I was worried about with the Grave Titan play. So that could have worked out pretty poorly for me. It would have just lost to it without the V-click back in my hand. All right, so tendrils is gone though, and with that gone, I think they just scoop, yeah. So, thing in the ice is a card that I don't think I bend my deck around to deal with. However, Toxic Deluge and Languish make that Goblin investment of theirs a lot worse, so I think I'll sneak those back in. I'll sneak those in, rather. I may not want to play Reanimate. It's pretty weak against Tendrils. I mean, if the thing I reanimate isn't good enough, I just die. Shieldred's looking pretty weak. Like, these are my big hitters. Well, no, Shieldred kills thing in the ice. Inkwell might be a little bit weak. It's quick. I mean, it's damage, but I definitely don't want to reanimate. I don't think I want to reanimate, and I don't think I want Equal. Take those two out and leave it with this. Maybe taking reanimate is stupid though. This is such a fast clock. Maybe the Scarab God's too slow. That actually makes more sense. Something like that. So I have to be careful not to lose too quickly. But see, if this will kill Thing in the Ice, this is Grizzlebrand, and Grave Titan is the fastest clock I have. It's faster than Grizzlebrand, actually. So I think we're good. And then that brings in 2 answers for goblins. Galore, I've already got. Main deck answers to combo. Honestly, like, if it weren't for the heartbreak of the last round, I would really have. Like, I feel like this deck is one of the best decks I've drafted that doesn't involve, you know, Ancestral, Black Lotus, Moxes, any of that. Like, as far as, I guess there's Mana Vault, but I could take it or leave it, frankly. I love Mana Vault, but if it wasn't in the deck, it wouldn't change anything about it. This deck would be completely savage if it were like a Legacy draft. You just take the Mana Vault out, and I think everything else is legal. So just take the Mana Vault out, bring in whatever. Be insane, right? Okay, so this is Prowler into Shieldred is really good. With the bribery backup plan. You know, I didn't look to see if they were going first right there. That could have been a big problem for me. Right, I don't want to expose. So I'm going to change course and go with turn 2 bribery. Most likely. Okay. Well, or am I? Is there likely to be a creature in their deck that I care about? They may have none. I didn't ever really get a good look. Ashok missed twice. I never saw a creature except Thing in the Eyes. Let's just see what happens here. I might go turn 2 Prowler and then... Alright, chart a course. So if they chart a course into like a big... Oh, okay. Well, then that answers that question. It's an interesting series of plays there. So that takes care of days. So do they chart a course? And if they do they pitch a fatty? Because if not... Okay. So if they pitch a good creature, then Exhume starts to look a little bit worse. Nope. Cabal Ritual. All right, well, that's an interesting one for them to be pitching. All right, pressure life total. Press it harder. Now, had I drawn a fatty and Shieldred live, I could instead pitch to Unus, and it would get even more obscene there, but never lucky, right? So if I had one more land in play, I could put Shieldred on the stack and then gifts in response also, and then just choose my only creature as, well, Grizzlebrand. Or just choose 2, Grizzlebrand in the other one, and then reanimate Grizz. No, that's incorrect. This is target creatures, so that would not work. Never mind. Excuse me. So that wouldn't work because I have to target it prior to resolution. I have to make my target, and there wouldn't be time to put gifts on the stack between. Like the very first thing that happens is goes on the stack, looks for a target, sees none, then I gifts in response. Put my creature in the graveyard, then this thing resolves, but it targeted seeing none. And there's no window in between, since this is at the beginning of your upkeep rather than during your upkeep, which is what like the Abyss says. All right, so now what? All right, Twisty it is. You are crazy, because if I had a fatty right there, I didn't twist into a creature. That's so lucky for my opponent. But, all right. I'm just going to try to end the game as fast as I can. So with that in mind, I'll go Brutality. I could go Luterio Core, hold up a mana drain, but I think I'm better off with getting the Brutality down. So I'm going to do it this way. 2 modes. We're going to reveal their hand and drain life them. All right, choose the opponent, and then pitch the looter for shielded purposes, and then don't care about much. So what I'm going to do, I'll leave them with Turnabout. They'll attempt to Turnabout during my upkeep. I will mana drain it, and then they will lose. So I'll take their Tendrils. So technically, I probably could have just played Mana Vault right there and then been perfectly acceptable as well. I mean, I guess they don't outright lose because they're going to pitch to Una's Preller, but, you know, for all intents and purposes, they lose. This is interesting because it's not a may. So if there was some penalty, like if there was a creature I really didn't want to return to play, I would have to. All right, and play an extra one of these guys. This is their Turnabout play, and scoop. Or not. Okay. So they're going to try to go off. All right. Interesting. I have more respect for that. Okay. Well, with that in mind, I don't want them to go strip mine me and then do something. Still, I know what their hand is, right? It's Turnabout, Ritual. So we'll see. I always yield to that because I've got plenty of time on the clock, and if they had some creatures that I needed to repeal. They had like 2 creatures, and I put the effect on the stack, repeal the other one, something like that. Could matter. So. Not that I have repeal, nor do they have a creature, but that was the reasoning behind it earlier. So let's see what they do here. So they can still Turnabout on my turn to stall for another turn, which means I need to just probably sit on the mana drain. Yeah. Because I assume their plan is to build their hand up just a little bit further in that exact way. Okay. Here it is, the scoop phase. Cool, good games. Very good deck. A little disappointing at the end there, how it turned out. Now, is this? I don't know why they used to add. I thought I had recording turned on for my drafts. But apparently it's just not doing it. There's an option in here to turn on draft recording. I thought. But who knows? Oh yeah, autosave draft logs. Media Magic drafts. All right, so let's look there. Media Magic drafts. So it is saving the draft log, but maybe it just doesn't know where to look to find them. Ah, okay, yeah. So there you go. You can see the picks. So that's cool. All right, well, does that mean that I can open a deck here? Add deck, import the deck from today. Okay. And see, this is the part where I keep running into confusion because it's doing this. And it's not importing the deck as a text file. And so I guess it's because of the way I'm drafting, because it's recording the actual draft steps and it's not recording the actual just a deck list, which is what I actually care about. So kind of a stupid feature. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the gameplay. Would have loved to have gone 3-0, but can't do it all the time. In fact, can't do it much of the time. It's a very challenging format and very well, you can just get blown out, and it happens. But it's a very fun format. I would like to see changes to the cube list, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, that's all I've got, though. Hopefully we'll get another one out there. Happy New Year's to everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.